The reason so many people still study World War II isn't just the tactics, the machines, or the grand strategy. It's the mental toughness of ordinary people thrown into extraordinary circumstances. Before we get into the first technique, remember this. Wartime mental resilience wasn't glamorous. It was raw, disciplined, and sometimes brutally simple. But it worked. And if you apply even one of these methods in your own life, the shift can be immediate and profound. The first lost hack is mastering the art of narrowing your world to the next actionable task. World War II soldiers in some of the most chaotic environments learned not to think about surviving the war. They thought about surviving the next hour, completing the next order, or even just tying a boot properly before moving forward. This wasn't denial. It was survival psychology. When the mind is overwhelmed, the broad picture becomes lethal. If you're drowning in modern stress, take a page from them by deliberately shrinking your focus. When you have too much coming at you, emails, deadlines, personal issues, choose one task that is achievable within minutes. Complete it, then choose the next. This isn't productivity advice, it's triage. You'll notice how quickly panic gives way to clarity once your brain has a direction it can handle. The second hack is adopting the practice of controlled emotional detachment under pressure. This wasn't coldness. It was a learned wartime discipline. Medics, bombardiers, and frontline officers trained themselves to bracket their emotions temporarily so the mission, or survival, could continue. The feeling returned later, but in the moment, detachment kept them functional. Applied today, this means setting a mental boundary around a stressful situation and telling yourself, "I'll feel this later, but right now I need to function." It can be as simple as postponing emotional reactions during a stressful call or crisis at work, then intentionally decompressing once the moment has passed. The key is the intentionality. Wartime detachments were never permanent. They were controlled. The third hack is the wartime habit of preparing your mind for hardship before hardship arrives. Soldiers didn't wait for disaster to toughen up. They rehearsed worst-case scenarios so the shock wouldn't break them when something actually happened. You know, modern life removes that kind of conditioning, which is why even small setbacks can feel, well, catastrophic. Applying this today can be as straightforward as doing mental walkthroughs of difficult conversations before they happen, rehearsing emergency plans with your family, or deliberately placing yourself in controlled discomfort, like cold showers, long walks, or fasting, to train your mind not to panic at inconvenience. The fourth hack is the discipline of creating meaning out of suffering, not just waiting for it to appear. Veterans across multiple theatres of the Second World War consistently spoke about the power of purpose, even, a purpose they made up, to endure. Some soldiers told themselves they needed to survive for their families. Others decided that keeping a journal or observing history firsthand was their mission. Purpose was chosen, not discovered. When you're overwhelmed today, choose a reason for enduring the current season, even if the reason is small. You might tell yourself you're gaining discipline, setting an example for your children, or building a story worth telling later. Purpose steadies the mind in a way raw motivation cannot. The fifth hack is the wartime practice of strict information filtering. People forget that rumour, misinformation and psychological warfare were rampant during World War II. Civilians and soldiers who stayed mentally strong filtered information aggressively, focusing only on what they could verify or act upon. The sixth hack is relying on disciplined routines when the world feels unstable. You know, daily routines kept millions grounded during the war. Things like meal rituals, cleaning weapons, writing letters, maintaining boots, and reciting orders. These routines weren't trivial, not at all. They were psychological anchors. The seventh hack is cultivating interdependence instead of isolated toughness. WWII resilience wasn't individualistic. Units survived because individuals relied on each other. Civilians survived bombings because neighbourhoods shared resources and emotional support. The eighth hack is maintaining hope through deliberate exposure to small wins. Hope wasn't blind optimism, it was reinforced by evidence. Soldiers celebrated minor successes, holding a position, completing a patrol, receiving a letter. Civilians counted every day their home still stood or their family remained safe. These tiny victories replenished their will to continue. You can replicate this by documenting daily wins, no matter how small. Write them down, speak them out loud, or track them in a notebook. When overwhelm hits, you'll have proof that progress exists, even if your emotions disagree.